In the camp now, competitor number 2, Hugh Miles and Raise Your Garter. He'll be our second competitor in the open cutout runoff. And Hugh Miles and Raise Your Garter have made their selection and gone up to the front of the camp here, really putting the pressure on now, ladies and gentlemen. Called for the gate. And they've got him covered. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Hugh Miles with a score of 24. Moving on now to number 3, Luke Bennett, aboard Little Miss Hooray. Making their selection now is Luke Bennett and Little Miss Hooray. Oh, getting down and getting to business here now, ladies and gentlemen. Our third competitor of the afternoon calls for the gate, and he's got it done. Put your hands together for Luke Bennett. With a score of 23.5. 23.5 there for Luke Bennett and Little Miss Hooray. On the camp next, we should have Peter Donnelly and Colby. He'll be followed by Ben Thompson with Django, Bruce McNaughton with Little Acre, Hugh Miles with Time's Up, and John Hardy on Bobby. So Peter's up the front now. He's made his selection. And a bit of hard luck there, Pete. Goes out with a score of 18. On camp now, we have Ben Thompson and Django. He takes the Angus steer. He says, I know what to do here. Putting the pressure on, called the gate. for a score of 22 and a half. 22 and a half points there for Ben Thompson and Django. Moving on to Bruce McDaughton and Little Acre. Of course, a very big thank you to Mr. Rick Swan from Tulla Beef, who's been organising our backyards here this weekend along with the Ray White staff. So we do thank you very much for your continued support and effort here over the weekend. Time's up. Then we will move on to the runoff of the Epic cutout, and those people we will require will be Charlie McKinnon with Bing and Denny Farley with Chandler. And then to run off the Infinity cutout, we will need Carl Green with J-Lo and Tim Clark with Duchess. Righto, making their selection now, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have Hugh Miles and Time's Up. And they get right up the front of the camp and they get down and get to work. Calls for the gate. Oh, got him covered. Well done, Hugh. Put your hands together there, ladies and gentlemen. Hugh Miles and Time's Up. With a score of 23 and a half points. And now our final competitor in the runoff of the open cutout will be Mr. John Hardy aboard Bobby. Looking for a score of 24 or better. Currently sitting in the lead, we have Hugh Miles and Ray Gigarda with a score of 24. And a bit of hard luck there, John, but thanks very much for being with us. So that settles that one, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of your open cutout is Hugh Miles and Ray Gigarda. So put your hands together there for Hugh. So we're now moving on to the runoff of the Epic Campdraft, and those people we need will be Charlie McKinnon with Bing and Denny Farley on Chandler. Following that, we'll then need Carl Green and J-Lo and Tim Clark with Duchess. They are the four people that we require to run off these next two cutouts. And of course, a big thank you must also go to our judge, Mr. Wayne Bean, the judge of the Open Camp Draft. He's come all the way down from Catherine to preside over the Open Camp Drafters here this weekend. So a big thank you must go to Wayne as he hands the whip on now to Mr. John Hardy as we go back to run off the Epic cutout. It's great to have so many sponsors here with us this weekend. I see we've got John and Lee Burton here from Burton's Salary. Great to have you here with us. And, of course, Rick Swan from Tulla Beef, another one of our wonderful sponsors. The Matheson family from Beef Trans, Livestock Transport as well. We've got the Wicklow Hotel staff over there in the bar and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just watched Charlie McKinnon and Bing, and he goes out with a camp score of 22 points. In the camp now, we'll turn our attention to Mr. Denny Farley and Chandler. We'll be looking to achieve a score of better than 22 to take out this epic Campdraft cutout. Once Denny's completed his run, we'll be looking to Carl Green on J-Lo and Tim Clark with Duchess. If you could please stand by. And then we'll move into the presentation of our open camp draft. Well, making his selection now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Denny Farley, another one of our great supporters who comes and supports the Epic year in, year out. Gets up the front, calls for the gate, and he's got it covered. Well done. We'll have a score to hand here shortly. 22. So we're going to have to come back, you fellas, and run that off again. We'll go on with you, Carl, and we'll run that off again at the end, mate. So we'll move on to the Infinity now. While we've got Carl in the camp, just give those other two fellas a chance to cool off. Coming back there, fellas. So now we run off the cutout of the Infinity Camp Draft, and we're watching Carl Green and J-Lo. They make their selection and move up to the face of the camp now. Oh, bit of noise. And he's got him covered. Well done, Carl. Goes out with a score of 20. And now our second competitor to run off the cutout of the Infinity Camp Draft will be Tim Clark with Duchess. He'll be looking to achieve a score of better than 20. Bit of hard luck there for Tim. Goes out with a score of 16. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Carl Green and J-Lo. They will take out the Infinity cutout. And we'll now head back with Charlie McKinnon to do the second runoff of the epic cutout. And Charlie McKinnon and Bing, they make their selection. BM87. Righto, mate, no worries. Could the owner of the vehicle with registration number BM87MF, a car with L plates on it, if you could just please go and move that car so that we can get some trucks out. So that is BM87MF. And a bit of hard luck there for Charlie McKinnon with Bing. Now, final competitor here for the afternoon will be Denny Farley with Chandler. And he will complete the runoff for the epic cutout. Selects the Angus steer. And calls for the gate. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Mr. Denny Farley. He'll go out with a score of 15, so he will be the winner of the epic cutout. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our Campdraft action here this afternoon. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't go too far away, though, because we will be heading back out into the centre ring for the presentation of the Greyzag Open Campdraft. We'll get some winners and place getters of that for you shortly and call you out in due course.